and sometimes I have no idea why.
Me neither.
Hello, YouTube. I say yes. It's real life.
Alright, well,
Everyone's requesting more of the real, transparent.
It's a real shaky video.
Okay. So we pulled my Instagram people. Actually, Grant, tell them about your Instagram thing.
I am absolutely obsessed with fantasy football, and so I thought it would be really cool to create a logo with my Instagram handle, and just want to start talking fantasy football. So I'll make a bunch of cool little graphics and ask questions and talk about all kind of stuff related to that. You know, I'm not trying to make any money off of it. I'm just thinking it might be fun to do.
Yeah, what kind of inspired you to do that?
Just watching all these guys on Instagram post all their stuff, and I'll interact and talk, and I'm like, I think it'd be fun to do the same thing and just kind of pick people's brains and just have fun with it.
What would your dream job be to do with fantasy football if you could choose that?
Fantasy football show on ESPN with Matthew Berry. I think I would have more fun acting like an idiot, like with all those guys dressing up in all the crazy suits and doing all the fun facts. I think it'd be so much fun.
We're on the way home from San Antonio for the Texas Sheriff's Association conference. My dad is president this year. Outgoing year. So we were all there as a family. We're driving home. So I like to be very productive with my time. So instead of just wasting 3-hour ride home, I figure we might as well film a new video because it's been a while. So I'll tag Grant's Instagram handle right here at Grantland Part 2, which where did your Instagram handle come from? Anyway, because he had this before I ever even met him.
So there was a docuseries on ESPN called Grantland. It never really got a lot of traction. It's already been shut down. I was like,
what was the documentary about?
It was like all things cool with like, it's like the ESPN 360 stories. They do all these really cool articles on sports stuff that, it was called Grantland. So I was like, all right, well, I'm Grantland Part 2 because I like sports.
I like that. That's pretty good and creative.
Yeah, and I'm not really that creative of a person. So I
You're more creative than you give yourself credit for. Like my wedding ring sits up on, wait, where is it at? Up on my crown. Grant came up with that. Yep. That's really creative. Is advice on starting your own business and starting your own website. And so Grant and I are two very, very different mindsets and ideologies, I guess, when it comes to starting business, running business. So I figured this would be a good one to get both Grant's perspective and my perspective on both starting a business and starting a website. So I guess when it comes to starting a business, where I would start today if I had to start over, I would definitely say have a business plan. Whenever I started Southern Jewels back in college, I did not have a plan. But also, I don't knock myself for that because I was young. I was starting this like hobby business where I was literally just making my own jewelry. Then more people wanted it. I filed a DBA. I started posting on Facebook. I had a website. I would like set up at local shows. I went to a kiosk in the mall. You know, online e-commerce, then storefront, bigger storefront, online warehouse. It just kept growing, this whole lifestyle brand. And so it was awesome that I was able to grow and sustain a business for, I guess it's been in business since 2007. So that's technically almost 12 years old, but I did sell the company earlier this year to Stormy. However, I do still influence for it. So it's kind of cool that I was able to evolve with that, but at the same point, I had to be so involved in every aspect with like operations that I think if I would have had a plan and some retail experience before, you can learn some expensive lessons with not having any experience or understanding the market before you kind of dive on in. And have like mentors or a small group, you know, having a group of like-minded individuals that you trust, that kind of have been through trials and tribulations, growing businesses, have their own business connections that they will share with you, and you vice versa. Having a group of that just kind of keeps you energized and motivated to where sometimes you yourself can have this idea or have all this energy, but if kind of everyone around you, whether that be your family, your friends, your coworkers, your boss, kind of shoots it down, you're much more likely probably to not act on it than if you have a small group of, you know, like-minded entrepreneurs. A business plan, having some either experience or testing of the market before you dive all in with all your money. And then we've talked about having like, a real in-life support group, whether that be mentors, idols, inspirations, all of that. The next thing I would say is to understand that you're obviously going to have to work really hard the first couple of years. I would also go into the mindset of you're not, like with Southern Jewels, I did not pay myself a salary for 3 years. Would you say that's about average of a business? Because the more money that you can obviously put into your business, the more, I guess, the faster it could grow rather than you taking that money out to live on it. Also, I don't think you can ever, especially with how competitive things are in today's age, I don't think you can ever get to a place where you're like, I have made it. I can back off, I can slow down, I can like coast. Really, maybe some industries more than others, but nothing that I've ever been in do I think I get to a place where I'm like, I'm good. Just know that you're gonna have to put a lot of time, money, energy into it, and it's really going to be like an entrepreneur lifestyle. There's really no, you're off after 5 o'clock. Sometimes you can be, but you really, for a while, have to always be thinking, putting customer support, designing, creating, just all of these things to make it happen. The thing's gonna be, which one of us looks more like a Hanson brother? Me or Grant?
Oh, it's definitely me.
So I'll let Grant take over now. What do you think it takes? Kind of give a little bit short story of your business background. Obviously, everyone knows mine is boutique, lifestyle, blogging, fitness app, and now clothing designing. So Grant has a completely different aspect.
I own several of my own real estate development companies along with my two cousins. I'm a third generation, successful business, family establishment or whatever you want to call it. You want to focus on, will the business have an impact? You just want to focus on impact over than what kind of impact you can make versus the dollars and cents you can return. That is, I can use this as an example, like so power.fit. Our impact is going to be is both on a market penetration and people's life. We're getting them healthy. We're getting them fit. They're going to feel better. So
they're going to have more confidence.
We're creating an impact on that person's life. But also there is a market impact that this market has. It's like $9 billion a year is the fitness industry or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it is. So there already is an established market, but there's also a lot of people who need help with their fitness journey.
And what we're doing is, basically I've hired Ben, our nutritionist and trainer with power.fit, for myself, and then created this business off of it, bringing him on board to share it at a much lower cost for the whole community, rather than if they would individually reach out to a trainer like that.
Right. And so as far as, and when I say, with the impact over dollars and cents, obviously you have to make dollars, you have to make cents, you have to be profitable. But I think that's a byproduct of making an impact within the marketplace. Just stop. You want to say, all right, what's going to separate me or differentiate me from my competition? Are you wanting to basically just copy and emulate someone else's business plan that's a proven model? That's fine, but you're going to have to find your own niche. Your impact would need to be something that separates yourself. Like, okay, I'm going to make balloons instead of rubber. I'm going to make them out of recycled plastic because you're now a green product. Another thing too is that if you don't know what you're doing, YouTube is literally the greatest tool in the marketplace. You can become an expert overnight. You can listen to business experts all over the world tell you their trials, their tribulations, everything, the ups and downs they've gone through, so you're not going to make that mistake. And another thing is, don't be afraid to fail. Failure is not.
I was just about to ask you about your failures.
Failure is just a great teaching lesson. Even with my successful businesses, I don't always make the correct business decision. You're never going to be right all the time. But making a decision is better than not making a decision. Always be learning. That's the one most crucial point of a business is just because you did things one way in year one doesn't mean you need to do that same
year two is completely different.
In year 2, 3, or 4, you always need to be evolving, always need to be learning, always be looking on how to improve your business model. And honestly, you got to have fun. If you're not enjoying what you do,
yeah, because you're gonna have to put a lot of time into it.
You're gonna get burned out. Another thing what I always do is every morning I check my bank account every single morning. All the companies, everything. Well, then there's also been situations where I check and I'm like, whoa, the account's way less. Why is it way less?
That's normally mine. It's more like, whoa, where'd all my money go? The thing's gonna be, which one of us looks more like Hanson brother? Me or Grant?
Oh, it's definitely me.
You have to put the hair in the front.
If you care, they care. And I think that is one of the biggest and most important things in business, is that if an employee or someone you pay to do a service does a great job, shake their hand. Look them in the eye and say, I appreciate what you've done for me. I think you've done a wonderful job and I value you.
Yes.
People want to be valued.
Grant and I both believe in, we do not lead by speaking, we lead by action. So there is nothing that anyone that will ever work for us has to do that we won't be doing as a leader first or right by their side.
Absolutely.
And I have literally told everybody who's ever worked for me, if you broke it down per hour, I promise I have always been the least paid employee.
Absolutely. And so one of our biggest philosophies, even when we have job interviews and stuff, is for new employees, I always make a point to say, I will never ask you to do a duty or task that I won't personally do myself. It's a job that, like my chicken project, it was the worst project in the
What's
industry.
your chicken project?
All right, so my dad had a company way back in the day, and so what they would do is they would take dead chickens and turn them into cattle feed. And in order to do that, you had to take the chickens, put them in a meat grinder, and then put
we're going to get people that hate this. It was in the past, guys.
Short, it had to sour, and then it goes to this,
Were they chickens that were already dying anyways?
No, they were already dead. They were
so it's finding a byproduct of something that already happened.
So the Sanderson farms, they had dead chickens. They were either going to burn them, get rid of them, whatever it is they do with them. So we would take them off their hands. They were already deceased, and then we would do our, we would reuse those chickens to produce, cattle feed for them. And so anyway, long story short.
So it's a natural way of recycling rather than they were not killing chickens.
Yeah, don't call Pete on us. Come on now.
Yeah.
So anyway, long story short, when all that stuff would sour and rot, it just created a horrible smell. Well, it was to the point where it was so bad that I couldn't personally ask someone to go do this task because it was so gross that I was like, look, I'll do it myself. I'm not too proud. I'm not too ashamed. I'll go dispose of everything because it's just, I wouldn't want somebody doing that.
Did you ever vomit?
Almost. It was bad. It was like real bad. So anyway, long story short, I'm willing to do the worst stuff you have to do, in the duties attached to your job before I'm going to let an employee do it. So just take care of people. Be decent human beings. I mean, I know what I'm saying. A lot of this seems like common sense, but look at it this way. Chick-fil-A is one of the fastest growing, most amazing business plans out there because their employees say, please, thank you. They care about the employee. While you have all these other fast food restaurants.
The employee cares about the client as they're driving through ordering.
Most of the people at Chick-fil-A are there because there's a sense of camaraderie. They all have, strong core beliefs. They're not just there for a paycheck. They're seeking more within a work environment. As opposed to other restaurants like, welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. Can I take your order? Like, they just don't care. They're just there.
What are your key points on starting a business?
What impact are you going to have?
Okay.
Don't ask an employee to do something that you won't personally do yourself. Just be a good person. Please, thank you. Treat people the way you want to be treated. I don't know. You got to have fun.
I hope that y'all like this shaky video. If the shaky video doesn't mind you, please leave us a comment below because maybe I can make Grant do more of these with me. So the next thing is, where would you start as far as opening or starting a website? And so what I would say is, obviously, first thing first, you need to know what your domain name is going to be. And your domain name would be like www.randacarrabba.com. So the first thing you'd want to do is go purchase it. I've always purchased mine from GoDaddy. There are other places to purchase them from. So really just going in and getting your domain purchased, I would say, would be the first thing.
I would avoid GoDaddy if you can.
Yeah, that's just what I've used in the past. It's not what I would use moving forward, but get it purchased. I cannot give an honest recommendation on who I would use moving forward until I actually go through that scenario, but that's who I've used in the past. I would recommend using someone else. After that, then it's going to come down like to the design of it, right? So you need to come up with what you want your website to look like. And whether you're going to have a designer or you're going to do this yourself, I feel like you do have to come up with the visuality. Is that a word?
It is now.
Okay, you need to come up with what your website is going to look like. So, laying out, here's what I want the homepage to look like. Here's what I want my header buttons to say. Here's what I want my drop downs to say. The basic overall navigation of the website and how it all ties together, because a website designer isn't going to know that unless you portray that to them. And so really kind of helping lead them that way. So the next thing would be, are you going to do it yourself? Say you're creating a blog. Are you going to design this website yourself? Are you going to use something like a Wix, a drag and drop? Or are you going to hire like a full-on web like designer? So for me with Randa Carrabba, when I was launching it, I had recently moved my Southern Jewels company online. So randacarrabba.com was going to be an extra business lifestyle blog, but I was not ready to put a lot of money into it. So for the first 6-8 months, I figured out how to create, design, host, everything that site for myself. So until randacarrabba.com had made enough money off of my lifestyle blogging income, I did not justify having a website designer do it for me. Once I justified that I launched in April. I hired a designer by November. That was so much nicer for me. But it's also the fact knowing that I didn't let being ready or having a developer hold me back from getting started. Now with web developers, they can promise you one thing and you can end up with something far less. And we've learned that with power.fit. We've actually switched web developers 3 times. So you can listen to people's feedback, but sometimes you just have to go through it yourself. So I would say, get going on it rather than waiting for everything to be perfect.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect. Not realistic. Just go put something out there that's quality, and then just evolve as you go.
Because honestly, sometimes you need your clients to tell you what they want more of. We've launched 3 rounds of updates in our fitness app, and we thought we had everything together when we first launched. Little did we know.
We weren't even close.
And it took, actually going through the process, having members, hearing feedback, knowing what they wanted to better help navigate us in the right direction. So if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up below and remember to subscribe. Let's do like this. Boom. So I can put the subscribe button there. Subscribe to our channel. So that you can, guys, we really want a few more subscribers. We really want to get to the 1,000 mark. I think we're only at 700 or 800. If we get to the 1,000 mark, we can start monetizing on our videos, which I'm sure you're like, why do I want to help them monetize? Well, if we monetize, we're going to bring more videos your way. So right now I'm only doing 1 or 2 videos a month, or I might take a 2 or 3 month break, or I might do only 2 or 3 a month. What I mean is we can bring more your way if we're able to monetize. So there actually is incentive in it for you rather than just us. And when I say monetize, it is obviously going to be very minimal at first.
Yeah.
It'll just be us saying, oh my God, we're actually making a little bit of money doing these videos. So, moral of the story, subscribe. Okay, this is the Bop song, and I'm playing it because because I think that I kind of look like a handsome brother.
That's true.
Which one?
All.
How many of them are there?
There's 3 of them, aren't there?
I don't even know their names or anything.